Hey, good to see everybody. Appreciate you coming out. What do you have?
How much of Lamar's development this year was more of a crash course for the season as opposed to what he did at Georgia?
Well, that's probably a great question. I wouldn't probably characterize it as a crash course, but I think it's a good way to think about it. It's his first year. He came in mid-season, did a great job, and we were kind of working on the fly with the offense a little bit. Obviously, to go 6-1 at the end of the season is a credit to him and a credit to our coaches. I think they did a great job, and we're looking forward to starting, from the beginning with Lamar and seeing what we can build.
How much of that was a lot of the, I don't want to say media because I'm part of it, but how much of the narrative was that he couldn't throw, just opposed to him throwing for over 9,000 yards in the pro summer?
Well, yeah, we could do the poll right here. Raise your hand if you think he can't throw. I don't know what the percentage is, and really, it's not important to us. It doesn't really matter what the talk about it is. It's just talk. It's just noise. We're going to try to build the best offense we can around, our quarterback, which is what you always do. And we believe he's a great football player. He's a great quarterback. How great remains to be seen. That's up to him and us. So, looking forward to seeing what we can get done.
Coach, what does the offseason look like with that plan of rebuilding that offense and everything, and what are you guys doing to kind of further develop them? Is it going to work with anybody?
Right. Well, we're doing our football work. We're building the offense now, and that's what we do. We're building the offense that we think can take us through the entire season, and what we're going to need to have in terms of the elements of the offense and how we're going to teach them and rep them and practice them and all those things. That's what coaches do in the offseason. Lamar's on his own right now from that standpoint in terms of self-development, but it's my understanding he's working really hard at it. He's I've heard through the grapevine that he's throwing with guys and he's working with coaches and things like that. He's got a coach in Florida who does a great job coaching the quarterbacks personally and others. I don't have all the details because we're not allowed to have all the details on that, but I know Lamar's a very hard worker, and he's going to do everything he can do to be the very best quarterback he can be. I love his determination. Right, our two young tight ends. We're looking for a big jump. I think those two guys are guys. Every day is not going to be a new day. In your first season, it's all a new. The next day's new. You haven't been there before, throughout the course of the season. So these guys have been down this road before now one time, and usually the biggest jump is between the first year and the second year in terms of production. So very talented guys. We're productive this year. I'm expecting big things from those two guys. Say again. Willie Snead was very reliable. I think he was a reliable move-the-change receiver for us. He made some big plays for us. Nobody works harder than Willie Snead. Willie's dad's a coach. His dad's working with him right now. I just met his dad a couple weeks ago. He's a football coach. So Willie's going to do everything he can to be a guy that moves the chains and makes plays for us.
He helped you and brought in veteran receivers who transformed the group. A lot of people don't think that can be done. How much were you able to kind of fix a position by going outside and finding veterans?
Well, over the years, we've been very successful with that. If you look back, you can go back, for me, 2008, you can go back to Derek Mason, and you can work your way right on through with Anquan Bolden and Steve Smith. We've been pretty successful with those kind of guys. Top-level type players. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to draft them and develop them. I don't think we've done as well with that as we need to do with that. So maybe we can take that path and make that one work too.
Going back to the years, what are your greatest recollections of the discovery of Justin Tucker?
Talent. Talent and personality. How's that for Justin Tucker? Our coaches, Jerry Rosberg and Randy Brown, found Justin, if you can find a guy at the University of Texas, but he wasn't even a combine guy. He wasn't here that year. So they discovered his talent and his enthusiasm and personality, his work ethic and all that. And the guy's really talented and he works really hard at it. So I think he's the best in the history of the game, and I expect him to be even better next year.
Coach, what's the greatest challenge in finding reliable kickers?
Well, a lot of it has to do, I think, with mental makeup. It's tough. It's a tough job. It's tough to make that putt. And then on Sunday at the Masters, that's what those guys do every Sunday for us. They've got to make that big putt, that big kick. So probably the mental makeup along with the talent and the work ethic are the three things.
Coach John, how do you view Gus Edwards' role for the team?
Well, I think Gus right now is our number one running back going in, and expect him to build on that. He's another guy. It's a rookie, so it's his second year. How much better is he going to get between year one and year two? You got to love he's a 240-pound guy that brings it every single snap, and it fits pretty well with the running game that we're involved with right now. So expect him to be really good, and we'll see. We're going to put some competition in there for him too. and we'll see how he responds to it.
John, one thing that Lamar really showed was ability to create, kind of go off script when necessary. I'm curious, in today's NFL, how important of a trait is that for a quarterback?
That's a very important trait, to be able to go off script, as you put it. That's one of Lamar's strengths, to be able to hey, look at basketball, look at hockey, look at any one of these sports. The ability to create a play on your own one-on-one is incredibly valuable, and it forces the defense to deal with it. So the defense has to deal with his ability to do that. I think different quarterbacks do it different ways. We deal with Ben Roethlisberger every year for the last however many years, and he does it his way. I think Lamar's going to do it his way. Guy down in Houston does it his way. Guy over in New England does it his way. And Lamar's going to create his own unique way of doing that.
I know you're born with that, right? But are there any areas to work in that area that you can see a guy getting better at?
As far as creating plays, well, sure. I mean, the obvious thing with Lamar is going to be consistency. You know, it's going to be consistency of handling the ball. We do a lot of tricky ball handling that he's going to have to be really adept at, make sure the ball stays off the ground. And then the consistency in the passing game, you know, of making those tight window throws, either on the move or from the pocket. I think all the rookie quarterbacks are going to have to work on that, and that's one of the things for him.
Hey, John, go back to the kickers for a second. What is it about that position that allows you to stabilize it with a guy that, like you said, not necessarily a combine guy or a draft guy that
Right.
can be found just out there?
Well, you got to find the right guy and you got to work it. I think our coaches do a great job. We put a lot of we put resources into coaching the kicker. So we've got a lot of background with that. Head coach. We have a great special teams coordinator in Jerry Rosberg. Chris Horton is a great special teams coach. But then we hired Randy Brown. And he's a kicking coach. He coaches special teams too. I don't want to just pigeonhole him, but that's one of his expertise areas. He's really great at it, and it's helped us a lot.
Does a new recruit Rashard very interest the Ravens?
You know what? I think it's better for Brashad right now that he kind of explores all the other options. I as a guy and a player, you never mind having him back. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Brashad Perriman for us. He worked hard. He did everything he could to be the best he could be. It's just timing wasn't right. He had a lot of injuries, and it just never fell in place for whatever reason. So to see him go to Cleveland and did the things he did there made me happy as a coach. I was proud of him. I wanted to defend him. Sure didn't want to see him score touchdowns against us, which he did. That's tough, but I'm proud of him too. At the same time, he's a great young man, and he's going to be a good player in this league.
Coach, when you look at Zadarius Smith, what is it that makes him so effective as an inside rusher as well as playing on the outside?
I think Zadarius is tenacious. He brings it, man. He's a high-energy pass rusher. He can line up in any one of the four spots inside and bring it. He can blitz. He can drop as an outside backer. Very versatile player. But more than anything, I just love his intensity level.
You're an advocate of explaining replay
Right.
to include judgment calls. Where do you stand on that now? And what are you hearing from other head coaches to try to get competition?
Right. I don't really have any observations on other coaches about it. Haven't really talked to anybody too much about it. Been more focused on football. Haven't changed my opinion. I think more replay, look how tough it is for these officials. All right. I mean, really, I know as a coach, what's the worst spot to watch the game from? The sideline. You see the least amount on the sideline. That's why we put coaches in the box, okay? So we've got all this technology, and the fans actually have a better view of the game from an officiating standpoint than the officials do. So these clear and obvious mistakes that are inevitably going to get made. It's not just one play in a championship game. It happens every single week, okay? Because the job is so tough, it moves so fast, and the angles aren't great. If we can put somebody up there in the box that's got a better angle that can help officiate the game from up there, let's do that. If we can add more plays into replay, let's do that. Because at the end of the game, it's about the credibility of the sport. And we can't have the other leagues outpacing us in terms of the use of technology to make sure the games are fair and well officiated. We have great officials. These guys are incredible with what they do. We've also put a lot of rules in place that have made it really tough on them. They've got a lot on their plate. So let's add an official. Let's add two officials. Let's put one up in the box. Let's expand replay if we want. And let's make sure that at the end of the day, the fans walk out of the stadium and walk away from the TV sets knowing that was a good, hard-fought, well-played, fairly officiated game, and the outcome is as it should be. It was correct. That the right team won the game.
Hey, John, how close are you guys scouting that alliance and monitoring?
Big time. Yeah, we know all the players already. Our scouts know all the players in the AAF. They'll know all the players in the new XFL, and we'll be all over that stuff. I promise you.
It's useful for teams for scouting and finding gems for training camp and things like that.
Absolutely. You look for players, and players develop. Sometimes they'll develop after they get out of college.
Guys, we have time for two more.
How do you say? Special teams players, usually we look for traits, good, hard, tough football players who are smart, who have good vision and can play in space. You look for traits and see if you can grow them into special teams players when they're on your team.
Jeff,
Have you heard for sure that Marshall Yonda is returning next year? I know he said he has
Well, Jeff, I haven't heard that he's not. So if there's a scoop out there that tells me otherwise, that I'm all ears. I don't want to hear that. That's bad news I don't want to get. My understanding is that Marshall Yonda is coming back and ready to roll, and that's where we left it at the end of the season. And to my knowledge, nothing's changed on that.
all right, thanks, Coach.
All set. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.